Hello, my motor enthusiasts. A thrill-packed qualifying session of the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix has just unfolded. Max Verstappen, our speed king from Red Bull, has clinched pole, outstripping his teammate Sergio Perez by a mere 66 milliseconds. However, both Red Bull drivers acknowledge more work is afoot regarding their long runs. McLaren has put on a robust show as well, with Lando Norris bagging third place, while his teammate Oscar Piastri wrestles with a sixth-place finish. The prancing horse, Ferrari, had quite the mixed bag, with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz finishing in 8th and 4th places respectively. Meanwhile, Mercedes, with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, is grappling with car improvements, finishing in a modest 7th and 9th places. Other notable performances include Fernando Alonso from Aston Martin securing 5th, while his teammate Lance Stroll languishes in 16th. Alpine and Haas have had a challenging session, while AlphaTauri and Williams show promise despite some hiccups. The strategy maestros from Pirelli are predicting a two-stop strategy could be the fastest for the race, but we could see some teams bucking the trend depending on their standings. Quite the spectacle, isn't it? Hey everyone, you already know me, I'm Enzo.
And this is William Turner, at your service.
We're here with you every day on F1 Motor Fever Podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Now, let's go full throttle. The Red Bull team certainly put on a show in qualifying, didn't they? Verstappen, as usual, was on his A-game, securing the pole position, but it didn't come easy. His teammate Perez was hot on his heels throughout practice and gave a tough competition during the qualifying. It was almost a nail-biting finish, with Verstappen just edging out Perez by a measly 66 milliseconds.
Absolutely. It's quite a sight seeing these two go head-to-head. It's evident that Perez has left his previous qualifying hiccups behind. He was so close to nabbing that pole position. It surely sets up an exciting prospect of a close fight in the race.
Indeed. Despite his victory, Verstappen didn't seem entirely satisfied with the car's performance, did he? He mentioned they still need to work on their long runs and controlling the balance of the car. I suppose it just goes to show that even at the top, there is always room for improvement.
Couldn't agree more. Verstappen knows that to stay at the top, complacency is not an option. Meanwhile, Perez's confidence seems to be on the rise, given how he's closed the gap from last season. This could be a key factor in the race tomorrow. I'm sure the fans are in for a treat.
McLaren made a remarkable comeback in Suzuka this year. Remember last year? They had a mixed run during practice, but this year, both their drivers made it to Q3. Norris even pushed the Bulls to their limit, securing third on the starting grid. However, I can't help but feel that he played it a bit safe on his final flying run. Do you think this cautious approach can hamper their performance in the race?
It's a valid concern. Sometimes, a conservative strategy can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it prevents costly mistakes, but on the other, it can mean missing out on opportunities. Regarding Norris, he's proven to be a competent driver, so it's likely that he's assessed the situation well.
True, but let's not forget Piastri. It was his birthday, but the celebrations were probably a bit muted as he ended up 6th. He seems to be struggling to find his rhythm. It's a bit worrying, isn't it? What if this affects his performance in the upcoming race?
Indeed, that's a legitimate concern. Piastri himself seems aware of the issues and is planning to work with his engineers. It does show how competitive the field is, as small differences can have a significant impact on the grid positions. However, it's still early days, and things can turn around. Let's hope for an exciting race tomorrow.
On the other side of the coin, we have Ferrari. They had a strong Friday but seemed to lose their pace in the free practice 3. Leclerc ended up in a rather disappointing 8th place, while Sainz managed 4th despite throttle issues. Leclerc expressed some concern about the car's pace, which could potentially affect their performance in the race.
That's one way to see it, but let's consider another perspective. While Leclerc's dissatisfaction is understandable, let's remember that he's been quite optimistic about the car's race pace as compared to qualifying. Yes, Overtaking on this track can be challenging, but it's not impossible. A good start, and perhaps a bit of luck, could see them regaining some lost ground.
I understand where you're coming from, but Ferrari's performance during qualifying was a bit baffling, especially since they were off to such a strong start on Friday. I'm not entirely convinced that they can easily make up for this in the race.
That's the beauty of differing viewpoints, isn't it? It's fine to disagree. What's important is that we keep an open mind.
You're right, and I appreciate the different perspective. It's given me something to ponder, although I can't say I'm entirely swayed.
And that's absolutely fine. Let's see how things unfold in the race. The fun part is that we never quite know what's going to happen.
Moving on to Aston Martin, there were contrasting fortunes for their drivers at Suzuka. Alonso had a stellar run, making Q3 with ease and bagging an impressive 5th spot on the grid. However, it was a different story for Stroll, who found himself out early in Q1 due to his lack of pace. Now Alonso has stated that it's too soon to attribute their competitiveness to the recent car updates.
You know, there's a rumor floating around that the difference in performance between Alonso and Stroll was as a result of a secret engine upgrade that was only fitted to Alonso's car.
Now, hold on a moment. We need to ensure we're sticking to verified information here. Conspiracy theories and unverified rumors don't do any good. It's crucial to check our facts through reliable sources like the official Formula One website or Bandeirantes, the official F1 broadcaster in Brazil.
You're absolutely right. I apologize for that. I should have been more careful.
No harm done, but it's a good reminder for all of us about the importance of fact-checking in this era of instant information. Let's keep our discussions rooted in confirmed facts and reliable insights. Let's see how things unfold for both Alonso and Stroll in the race. Now, talking about Mercedes, they seem to be having a mixed bag of a weekend at Suzuka. Despite getting their car into a decent working window, neither driver managed to fully capitalize on it in Q3. Hamilton made it to 7th place, outdoing his teammate Russell, who ended up 9th after a trip to stewards for an unsafe release in the pit lane.
It does seem like the Mercedes drivers could have a tough race on their hands tomorrow, doesn't it?
Indeed, overtaking is likely to be a challenge on this track. However, Hamilton's enthusiasm is contagious. His remark about the car's balance improvements and the direction they're heading in, despite the current challenges, makes me optimistic. There's always the element of tire degradation that could turn things around.
Absolutely. Tire strategy can often be the game changer in these races.
Precisely. Let's wait and see how the Silver Arrows tackle the challenges of the race tomorrow. It's shaping up to be an exciting Grand Prix. Moving on, Russell has expressed some disappointment in his performance, ending up in 9th place. He cites a slight mistake on his final lap as the cause. However, he remains optimistic about the race, pointing to tire degradation and different strategies as potential game changers.
It's all about keeping a positive mindset, isn't it, Enzo?
Absolutely. And speaking of positivity, Toto Wolff, head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport, also sees a silver lining. Despite the not-so-stellar qualifying results, they've managed to narrow the gap to the 2nd row.
Indeed, it's always about progress and not perfection. Don't you agree, Enzo?
Spot on, William. Reminds me of a joke. Why don't race car drivers ever play hide-and-seek?
I don't know, why?
Because good luck hiding when you're always on the track. Ha ha ha.
Ha! Good one, Enzo. You got me there.
Shifting gears now, we've seen a better performance from Ricciardo, despite missing out on Q3 by a whisker. However, the Australian driver expressed mixed feelings about his results, indicating both frustration and encouragement.
That's quite typical, isn't it? A sport like this is a constant push and pull between satisfaction and desire for better results.
You're right. Ricciardo's optimism for the race tomorrow is evident, though. He believes points are within reach and is setting his sights on the top 10.
Aiming high is part of the game, after all.
Absolutely. On the other hand, Tsunoda, his teammate, has secured a spot in Q3 for the 2nd straight year. The young Japanese racer seems to be riding on a wave of confidence, which is truly a sight to behold.
Confidence can indeed play a significant role in how a race unfolds.
Indeed. The Japanese Grand Prix is shaping up to be an exciting one. Let's wait and watch how the dice roll. Continuing on, we have Yuki Tsunoda expressing gratitude for the support and mentorship he has received from his team. He's still aiming for that top 10 finish in the race tomorrow, which he hasn't yet accomplished here.
It's good to see such determination. You can't underestimate the power of a strong support network and the drive to improve.
On that note, Racing Director Alan Permain has also highlighted the significant efforts put in by both the team and the drivers to maximize their package.
The new floor upgrade seems to have paid off. It's working flawlessly, and that's a significant positive heading into the race.
Indeed. Now let's shift focus to Nico Hülkenberg, who despite missing Q3 by a narrow margin, seems quite pleased with his performance. He managed to have a clean qualifying session and made the most out of the car's package.
A clean session and pushing the car to its limits sounds like a job well done to me.
Absolutely, and he seems pretty optimistic going into the race. He's taking his P12 position with a positive stride, which is all you can ask for at this stage. Moving on to Team Haas, Kevin Magnussen, starting at 18th, has acknowledged the improvements they made to the car for qualifying. Despite the changes, he admits they are still lacking pace.
Sometimes, even with improvements, if the track isn't suited to your car, it can be a tough battle.
That's right. However, he seems rather hopeful about making some progress in the race, following the pattern of the first 3 races this season.
Racing truly is unpredictable. Any change in circumstances can turn things around.
Absolutely. From what team principal Ayao Komatsu has to say, it seems Kevin's setup changes have been positive. Nico's Q1 and Q2 runs were also highly appreciated.
Seems like a day of ups and downs for Team Haas then.
Switching gears to Team Sauber, Bottas has expressed satisfaction with his car's performance today. While he didn't make it into the top 10, he sees this as a sign of positive progress.
And progress, no matter how small, is progress nonetheless. It's all about putting one foot in front of the other in this sport.
Just to make a quick aside, the information we've been discussing comes from an article written by Becky Hart, published on the Formula One website on the 6th of April, 2024.
That's a reliable source. Formula One's official website is highly trusted for its accurate and timely updates. But, as always, it's good practice to cross-check any information you come across.
Absolutely. Due diligence is key in any field, even more so when it comes to sports journalism. Now let's dive back into the discussion. Zhou Guanyu seems to have had a tough day, didn't he? He expressed some disappointment with his performance today, attributing it to a lack of preparation due to a technical issue during the final practice session. It reminds me of a race last year where a similar situation happened, and the driver managed to turn it around in the race.
Indeed, unpredictable events can severely impact a driver's performance. Funnily enough, I experienced something similar during a local karting race years ago. A technical glitch during practice had me starting at the back of the grid, but I managed to work my way up during the race.
That's what makes this sport exhilarating. You never know what can happen. Speaking of surprises, team representative Alessandro Aluni Bravi has expressed mixed feelings about today's qualifying session. He praised Bottas's performance for nearly making it into Q3, but expressed disappointment over Zhou's qualifying session.
Preparation plays a crucial role indeed, and when that's disrupted, it can be quite a setback. However, it's heartening to hear about their optimism and the possibility of recovering some positions tomorrow.
And I think that's the beauty of this sport. No matter how the day ends, there's always a new day to look forward to, a new race to tackle, and new challenges to overcome. A tough day in the office, it seems, for Alex Albon as well. Frustration seems to be the sentiment echoing from his remarks, especially regarding his struggle with tire management due to the aggressive track.
Tire management can indeed be a tricky aspect, particularly when the track is as demanding as it is. It's a delicate balancing act between pushing for speed and ensuring the tires last as required.
And it seems Logan Sargent too has faced his fair share of hurdles. After the mishap yesterday, he managed to put on a decent show during today's qualifying, despite the limited amount of running.
Indeed, Him being just 1.5 tenths from Q2 shows the competitiveness of the grid. It's commendable how he managed to bounce back.
Dave Robson, head of vehicle performance, seems to be satisfied with today's productivity. Both drivers completed their planned programs in FP3 and were able to adjust their cars ahead of qualifying.
Yes, each day brings its own set of challenges, and it's about how you adapt and respond to them. Today was a good example of that.
Reflecting on today's performances, Dave Robson acknowledges the challenges faced by the drivers. He noted that both drivers found it tricky to manage the tires even over a single qualifying lap. So it seems the race tomorrow is going to be quite a challenge as they look to balance pace and degradation.
Yes, tyre management will be a crucial aspect of tomorrow's race, especially given the dry and warmer weather forecast. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers adapt to these conditions.
Moving on to Alpine, they came in with high hopes, courtesy of some upgrades. It was a promising start with Esteban Ocon getting out of Q1 for the second straight race. However, he struggled to make inroads up towards the top 10 in the Q2 segment.
Indeed, Ocon's performance has shown glimpses of potential. Let's hope the team can capitalize on this and make further improvements.
However, Pierre Gasly couldn't follow suit. He complained of struggles with traction late on in Q1. It seems he's set for a tough race tomorrow, starting so far back.
Certainly, starting from the back of the grid poses unique challenges. Overtaking opportunities can be scarce, and it takes a lot of skill and luck to make significant progress.
Reflecting on his performance, Gasly said that the car felt good in Sector 1 on his second push lap. However, he seemed to slide a lot after that and perhaps overheated the rear tires. He expressed disappointment over his Q1 exit and acknowledged a need for analysis and understanding of the areas where they lack. Team principal Bruno Famin acknowledges that the upgrades have worked as expected for them. However, they recognize that there's a lot of hard work ahead of them. They're keen on making improvements, especially on tire warm-up and management.
Can you give an example of why tire warm-up and management are crucial in such races?
Certainly. Tire warm-up is all about getting the tires to their optimal operating temperature. This is vital as it improves the tire's grip on the track. A good example would be at the start of the race. A proper tire warm-up can ensure a solid start, while poor tire warm-up might see the driver struggle to get off the line swiftly.
And what about tire management?
Tire management is all about conserving your tires while maintaining a good pace. For instance, a driver may have to sometimes drive conservatively in order to extend the life of the tires. This is often seen in races where pit stops are time-consuming and can potentially lose you positions. Moving on, Mario Isola, motorsport director at Pirelli, notes that despite the cooler conditions compared to last year's race, degradation is still particularly significant. Therefore, a two-stop strategy seems to be the quickest choice. He also points out that the current generation of cars increasingly suffers from instability when closing on a car, making overtaking even more complicated.
What does he mean by instability when closing on a car?
This refers to the aerodynamic turbulence generated by a car in front. When another car follows closely, this turbulent air can cause the following car to lose downforce, leading to less grip and thus making it difficult for the driver to maintain control and execute an overtaking maneuver. This is also called the dirty air effect. It's shaping up to be an interesting race from start to finish, with so many variables at play. From tire strategies to the weather, from track conditions to the elusive art of overtaking, there's plenty to look forward to.
It's certainly going to be a tactical affair. I'm intrigued to see how teams plan their pit stops and manage their tires, not to mention the driver duels on track.
Absolutely. It's set to be a real test of driver skill, team strategy, and car performance. From Verstappen setting the pace at Suzuka to Hamilton hailing the best session of the year for Mercedes in Japan, there's a lot happening.
Indeed. And let's not forget the close qualifying at Suzuka, where Verstappen edged out Perez by a mere half a tenth. It really goes to show how tight the competition is this season.
That's right. It's these minute margins that make all the difference in the world of Formula One. It's all about precision, timing and pushing the limits to the extreme. William, have you had a chance to take a gander at the online chatter about the Japanese Grand Prix? How are the fans responding?
Well, let's see here. There's a discussion thread on the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix qualifying session. User F1 Bot has outlined all the key details about the race, from the session times, location, to the lap record. Quite the comprehensive guide, I must say.
And what's the word in the comments section?
Sunny Life comments on the surprising position gap between Alonso and Stroll, quote, "Alonso P2, Stroll P16. I know you love your son Lawrence, but come on," unquote.
A bit cheeky that, isn't it?
Indeed, user Nameless739 suggests that Stroll's position could be a strategic move in the constructors' battle. He says, quote, "To be fair, it pushes Aston down the constructors, giving them more computational fluid dynamics and wind tunnel time, benefiting Nando," unquote.
Interesting theory there.
Then there's Carnivoros, who's drawn up a comparison between teammates. He lists, quote, "The tale of two teammates, Alonso in, Stroll out, Ocon in, Gasly out, Bottas in, Zhou out, Hülkenberg in, Magnussen out, Albon in, Sargent out," unquote.
That's quite an observation. Anything else that caught your eye?
Yes, there's this amusing comment from Ajecti98. He jests, quote, "The year is 2048. Giant holographic driver names float above everyone's cars. Crofty still cannot tell them apart from each other," unquote. Clearly, there's no shortage of humor in these online discussions.
Well, that brings us to the end of another exhilarating episode of F1 Motor Fever podcast. We've covered a lot of ground today, dissected the thrills and spills of the previous race, and heard your thoughts on the matter. We love hearing from you, so don't forget to leave your comments and share our content with your fellow Formula One enthusiasts. Remember, every like, share, and comment helps us bring you more of the content you love.
And don't forget, we're like clockwork here. We're back in your ears every single day, dissecting the world of Formula One, one lap at a time. Speaking of time, it's almost time for the next Grand Prix. Who's as excited as I am? I can't wait to see what's in store.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate your company and participation. We can't wait to have you back with us for the next episode.
Absolutely. And before we sign off, remember our catchphrase: pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold. Until next time, folks.